Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts, bringing value home. Sacred ground turned into political rally. ENMORE martyrs remembered. $45,000 bail for baby SKELLO. Dr. Dexter TODD. EVERTON SING-LAMMY makes strong arguments. Guyanese critic hauled over the coals for abusive remarks directed at Education Minister. And the two-day TVET Fair and EXPO opens in Region 4. More than 40 entities participating. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Tuesday, 17th June 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. This is what you should know this evening. On sacred ground, the People's Progressive Party Civic turned up in full campaign style where a slew of promises were made. You'll hear more from Travis Chase.
What was supposed to have been a commemorative ceremony to mark the 77th anniversary of the 5 ENMORE martyrs' deaths quickly turned into a political rally on Monday, led by President Irfaan Ali, who warned the gathering that come September 1, 2025, they should not gamble with their future.
What we need in the world today and here in Guyana is stable leadership. Respectful leadership, strong leadership, committed leadership, not experimental leadership.
The president tried to impress upon the gathering that his party, the People's Progressive Party Civic, is on the right path and that they should come together for a better Guyana.
We cannot gamble with our future. This is the period of consolidation for a better Guyana. It is not the period for experiment. It is the period to consolidate the gains that we have made.
The president went as far as to make a slew of promises should the People's Progressive Party Civic return to the seat of government.
And yes, in that plan, you will get higher salaries. You will get more homes. You will get more grants. You will get more school support. You will get increase in the Because We Care grant, higher old age pension, more tax break, easier access to vehicle ownership, housing improvement grant. Yes, you will get all of that.
In his usual campaign style, the president took a jab at the former coalition government.
The APNUFC left a trail of destruction. More than 40,000 families affected by the closure of estates in this industry alone.
On June 16, 1948, sugar workers Rambaran, Puran, Lalbaji, Kisoon, and Suraj Bali died at the hands of colonial police while demonstrating in front of the ENMORE factory. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
And Travis will once again tell us that with no objections from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, a High Court judge Tuesday morning granted bail to baby SKELLO, who has been remanded to jail over blasphemous libel. Here again is Travis Chase.
Attorneys at law Dexter TODD and EVERTON SING-LAMMY Tuesday morning successfully secured bail for Daniel Wharton, also known as baby SKELLO. A High Court judge granted bail in the sum of $45,000. Baby SKELLO recently appeared in court over a song that was seen as blasphemous of a Hindu goddess, and he was remanded to prison by Magistrate Judy Latchman. Wharton's attorney, Dr. Dexter TODD, told Nightly News via telephone that there were no objections by the attorneys representing the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and that no conditions were required for bail to be granted.
This morning, Daniel Wharton, also known as Baby SKELLO's application, was heard before the Honorable Justice Morris. That application was presented by myself and Mr. Lammy Singh. And we, of course, challenged the decision of the magistrate to not grant bail at the first hearing of Daniel. The honorable judge agreed with the application. Also, in this application, we saw that the Director of Public Prosecution had no objections to bail. Therefore, the bail was granted unopposed.
The Ethnic Relations Commission, who had initially promised to explore all legal avenues available under the laws of Guyana in addressing the matter, said on Monday that it had no role in the recent prosecution and remanding of Wharton over the controversial song. Meanwhile, the Alliance for Change on Monday called on all members of the National Assembly to repeal the archaic and incompatible offense of blasphemous libel from Guyana's statutes as it violates Guyana's constitution and international law. Quote, "This colonial-era law stands in direct contradiction of Article 146 of the Constitution, international human rights obligations, including Guyana's commitment under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Guyana is a state party," the AFC said. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Thanks, Travis. Meanwhile, Minister of Education Prem Manik-Chand has chastised the social media commentator Michael Rodrigues, known as the Guyanese critic, for making profane statements against her because she believes social media singing sensation Baby SKELLO should not have been imprisoned on a blasphemous libel charge. Antonio Day reports.
What the critic fellow said was ignorant, as in it did not have contained facts. It was vulgar, it was abusive, it was profane, and it was uncalled for.
That was Minister of Education Prem Manik-Chand responding to scathing remarks directed to her by social media commentator Michael Rodrigues, known as the Guyanese critic. During the sidelines of a Ministry of Education's event on Tuesday, the subject minister said that Rodrigues' demeaning statements could land him in hot water.
All of that makes that a crime against the state under the cybercrime legislation. So, if I were to pick myself up from here, waste some time, and walk over to the cybercrime unit and make a complaint, he most likely would be charged.
The Guyanese critic on a social media talk show on Monday morning lashed out at Minister Manik-Chand in a very derogatory manner. However, he was subsequently ridiculed by many of his viewers. The subject minister made it clear that personalities like critic should not be tolerated.
And as much as I think he's an idiot and not credible and not a journalist and just laughs off his mouth, I would fight for him to get pre-trial liberties, because that is what our Constitution guarantees.
The minister said she does not have the luxury of approaching every issue from an emotive standpoint, but notes that persons like the Guyanese critic must be isolated.
He's a bully, and there are very many bullies like that in households across this country. And to the girls and women who have to put up with people like that, I say defend yourself and deal with them.
Manik-Chand said too that not because the Guyanese critic displays forms of stupidity means his abusive actions must be tolerated and accepted.
I don't want to send the message that people like him in homes should be tolerated simply because he's stupid.
Manik-Chand posited that while she in no way supports Baby SKELLO's musical content, which disrespected a Hindu goddess for which he apologized, he should not have been in prison for blasphemous libel. This led to critics' disparaging remarks. I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio. More news after this break. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. Antonio Day now informs us that as residents across the hinterland villages and communities continue to lament the poor state of affairs there, scores have pledged their support for presidential hopeful Azardin Mohammed. The residents have cited neglect from the current administration as the businessman continues his political campaign across the country.
The indigenous community of Kamwata in Region 1 welcomed presidential hopeful Azardin Mohammed when he conducted an outreach there recently. One vocal resident alluded to disrespect towards her during a government outreach as she related to Mr. Mohammed the plight her village currently faces.
After you came and you said that that's the worst road, they begin to do that road. And I feel in my heart they did not do it with love for the people. They're doing it with hatred now that somebody brought it.
The villager claimed that Public Works Minister Juan Ejil visited the Region 1 community to dictate the agenda of the meeting rather than to listen to the woes of the people. Given its terrible condition, she explained her daughter, a nurse, finds it difficult to get to her place of employment, the Kumaka Regional Hospital.
Right now there are 3 spots in that road. I told him that my daughter, is a nurse at the Kumaka District Hospital. And she's on night shift. We have to take her there to work. Many nights we get stuck in that mud. He did not come here to hear our concern. He was rather rude. And nobody else asked any question, and he left and the meeting finished. Are we going to put back those people into?
Meanwhile, a resident of Anai, Region 9, expressed regret for voting for the incumbent People's Progressive Party Civic in the last general and regional elections. She claimed that President Irfan Ali had vowed to develop the indigenous village once elected, and to date villagers are still yet to witness such developments.
All these years, they have been promising us, and they never fulfill their promise. They did that, the tar road you're talking about. What they did is do the drainage right in front there, and all the water come in here. So we just play like I don't know what on this field when the rain fall.
According to the resident, the village of Anai will wholeheartedly support Azardin Mohammed at this year's poll.
We will be giving you our support. The youngsters, we want to see development in our community.
I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
To facilitate major rehabilitation works along the Diamond to Good Success Public Road on the east bank of Demerara, the Ministry of Public Works has announced several measures to ensure the smooth flow of traffic in that area beginning June 17, 2025. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Minister of Public Works Juan Ejil visited the Diamond to Good Success Public Road on the east bank of Demerara on Tuesday and provided an update on the total rehabilitation works currently underway.
Is to only allow for trucks and articulated vehicles carrying heavy load to remain on this carriageway, on all buses, cars, SUVs, and the rest of it, the smaller vehicles, to start as of today, going through the bypasses that have been created.
The minister noted that systems were put in place long before the project began. Adequate bypasses have also been created, and drivers are now encouraged to use alternative route accessible from Heroes Highway.
As of today, we want to start diverting the traffic. This carriageway must be finished. This is not going to be forever. We want to get this wrapped up as fast as is possible.
Traffic Chief and Senior Superintendent of Police Mahendra Singh, who was also present during the site visit, said the volume of traffic passing through the area has grown significantly over the years, with thousands of vehicles being registered every 3 months. He assured that the police will deploy resources to ensure the new traffic restrictions are followed.
As limited as we are, we will do as we should do. But before anything goes into actual enforcement or it's being enacted, the signs that help the road user to understand where the diversion is and where they can reroute, it has to be in place.
Meanwhile, Colin Gittins, head of the ministry's Special Projects Unit, reported that works on the $1.3 billion rehabilitation project are approximately 45% complete.
And allowing, we've designed the road in such a way to be able to carry heavier loads of traffic.
Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thanks, Tiana. Join us after the break. We have more news for you. Welcome back. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. The Ministry of Education's TVET Fair and Exposition opened on Tuesday with more than 40 participants demonstrating bold creativity under the theme, Empowering Youths, Elevating Skills. TVET as a catalyst for inclusion. Antonio Day was there and filed this report.
More than 40 entities are participating in the two-day exhibition, which includes sectors such as energy, agriculture, health and technical and vocational education. At the beginning of the two-day technical and vocational education and training fair and expo, Marcia Paddy Andrews, Assistant Chief Education Officer, Technical, discussed the initiative's prospects.
Our youth are not waiting for a change. They are the driving force behind the change. And TVET provides that opportunity for them to engage in that process. The exposition showcases the talent and innovation of our students and institutions, reflecting the diverse opportunity that TVET offers.
She emphasized that several schools and technical institutions will demonstrate the advancement in the construction industry as well as the constant evolution of sustainable energy. The Assistant Chief Education Officer stated that the TVET Fair also stimulates the minds of young people who may be interested in engineering or other technical careers.
You will witness digital creativity, the green technologies from smart agriculture to entrepreneurship.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Priya Manichan is touting that her government has been the driving force in technical and vocational education. She announced that to date, 74 secondary schools across the region are offering 24 TVET-related subjects.
That, my friends, is what love looks like. That is what investment in education looks like.
The subject minister noted that given the diversification of Guyana's economy, the next generation must be fully geared.
That is what making sure our children are prepared for the Guyana that is rapidly being built before our eyes look like.
The Technical and Vocational Education Training, TVET unit of Guyana's Ministry of Education, focuses on providing learners with practical skills for several industries. The Ministry of Education has launched a new TVET policy for 2025 to 2035, which emphasizes national development, improved education quality, and increase employment opportunities. The two-day exposition, which is held at the Arthur Chung Conference Center in Liliendal, concludes on Wednesday. I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Amid growing international concern over the developing Iran-Israeli conflict, President Irfan Ali has added his voice to calls for an immediate end to the violence. Tiana Cole has the details.
Speaking during the 77th commemoration of ENMORE Martyrs Day, President Irfan Ali condemned the ongoing attacks and urged both countries to pursue diplomacy over warfare.
We cannot be killing each other with an aim to negotiate towards peace. We cannot create destruction towards negotiations to peace. We must negotiate to peace to avoid destruction.
President Ali stressed the importance of respecting international conventions and called on both sides to end the destruction of lives and property. He warned that global conflict has far-reaching effects, citing the economic and humanitarian impact.
The price of fuel has already increased by more than 8%. From the day before the war to today, more than 30 million people will go into chronic hunger.
Meanwhile, Guyana's permanent representative to the United Nations, Caroline Rodrigues-Burkett, speaking at the United Nations Security Council meeting on Monday, said Guyana is deeply concerned about Israel's recent attack on Iranian facilities, which resulted in the loss of lives, including civilians.
It has also reportedly resulted in retaliatory drone strikes by Iran against Israel. Israel's latest attack on Iran contravenes the principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter.
She warned that especially during such a volatile period in the region, the attack could worsen the crisis and further escalate instability in the Middle East. She urged all parties to exercise restraint and respect international law. The current round of conflict began on June 13, 2025, when Israel launched a major preemptive air campaign codenamed Operation Rising Lion. Iran responded with ballistic missiles and drones at Israeli cities. The situation has since developed into a dangerous 5-day standoff, marked by repeated strikes and mounting casualties on both sides. Tiana Ko reporting for the HGP United News.
Stay tuned, we have regional news for you up next.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the Regional News. Starting with news in St. Lucia. The St. Lucia government says it has successfully signed collective bargaining agreements with 7 of the 9 public sector's union and staff associations, which will result in public sector workers receiving salary increases for 2% annually within 2022 to 2025 period. It is said that agreements will also cover the 2025 to 2028 period, except a 3% increase in the final year of the latter triennium. The government described the signing as a quote-unquote, a milestone in the government's ongoing commitment to fostering fair and constructive relations with its public service workforce. It said the agreements were signed on Monday and signifies a significant achievement in the negotiations process that began in December 2023. The agreements also allow for the introduction of new provisions to enhance benefits, including payments for Marking Caribbean Examination Council, school-based assessments, and payments for temporary teachers for preparation weeks. The government reiterated its commitment to creating a fair and supportive work environment for all public sector employees, reinforcing its vision to build a resilient and prosperous nation. Over to news in Jamaica. Jamaica has recorded a 45% decline in murders so far this year, with the country registering 303 murders as of June 14. Figures released by the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, show that between 303 killings, there were 240 fewer than the same period last year, when the island recorded 543 murders. The figures show significant declines in murders in Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Manchester, as well as Kingston, Eastern, and Kingston Central. The police figures also show 14 people were killed on the island during the period June 17 to 14. The figures also show that shootings dropped from 492 to 332 with persons injured, declining by 216 from last year's figure of 445. There were also a significant decline in rapes, the GCF said. In April, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang told Parliament that Jamaica could attain a historic milestone this year, given that based on current trends, murders in Jamaica should end in 2025 below 800. In 2024, Jamaica recorded 1,141 murders. And finally, with some news in the international diaspora. Waves of Russian drones and missiles struck districts across the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, early today, damaging an apartment building, sparking fires and injuring up to 16 people, city officials said. Both Ukraine and Russia have launched mass drone attacks in recent weeks as the two sides have held 2 sessions of direct talks on ending the more than 3-year-old war. The talks have produced agreements on freeing prisoners of war and returning the bodies of fallen soldiers, but little more has been done. More strikes by Russian drones on residential buildings in Kiev, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak wrote to Telegram, and I quote, "Russia is continuing its war on civilians." End of quote. Thank you for watching. I'm Antonio Day.
Sacred ground turned into political rally. ENMORE martyrs remembered. $45,000 bail for baby SKELLO. Dr. Dexter TODD, Everton SING-LAMMY makes strong arguments. Guyanese critic hauled over the coals for abusive remarks directed at Education Minister. And two-day TVET fair and expo opens in Region 4. More than 40 entities participating. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.